I GCDS when I did to school. I'm here because for the animation workshop and for the Museum of the Moving Image. I live in the workshop to make animation, to move things and like making magic and to have fun.
Monter. Ok, descend.
Plus aimé dans animation.
Du veux que caméra va ça?
Sam bi e bo kap mbay nan bout ki te mbay.
Ok, ça me semble.
Sam blis reme c'est pour les m'a fait photo.
It's a
When you're taking the picture,
when you're taking the picture.
and animating.
We're trying to make stop motion animation relevant to issues in their everyday lives and world issues. So we're using the UN rights of the child as a theme throughout the workshop.
I think it's great that the museum took on that innovation to have animation around developing the rights of children. It gives them voice, it gives them opportunity to self-select, and then to create an animation with those kinds of activities and vocabulary and experiences around the rights that they're choosing.
I think it's good that they created the rights because if children didn't have rights, they wouldn't be able to have families, eat food, several different things.
They've learned and they use what they've learned daily. Even when they're with me during the day, they'll say, hey, we have the right to a quality education. And I remember that that's what they've learned in the museum this year.
Well, what I try to explain to animation is like kindness and helping out others that don't have what you have.
So these kids have learned how to do all different kinds of stop motion animation techniques. They've learned how to do pixelation, which is basically using their bodies as the moving objects. They've done puppets, and they've worked with clay stop motion, and they're also using Legos.
A lot of our students are immigrants, or their parents are immigrants, or they come from immigrant families. So this is a great way for them to be exposed to the different and various rights that they have as immigrants or as citizens of the United States.
Through their animations, they're exploring these different rights that children have throughout the world. At first, they didn't see how it really connected to their everyday lives, but these things are very universal. Kids might see it as just playing, but it's actually a way for them to have a voice and to express inner thoughts and feelings.
That's not only providing something that's really fun, but a different style of learning, which our kids really appreciate because they're such visual learners. I'm a visual learner, so when I saw this opportunity, I'm like, yes, I want our kids to get dirty and know that that's fun and still educational.
I arrived in the UK when I was 9 years old from Zimbabwe, escaping an abusive household. I was granted temporary right to remain whilst I was a child. Since then, my work permit has been taken from me, and the Home Office has spent 5 years deciding my fate.
I think that the kid running in the grass, it's sort of symbolic of freedom.
It also made me think about how in the first video when the boys were in the pool and that woman was talking about freedom, she assumed that they didn't have freedom.
Do you find everything really new and different here?
Yes.
Do you have a lot of freedom here that you didn't have? Yeah.
So there's like a lot of assumptions. But when I think about that video where the kid is running through the field with the music, I feel like no matter where you are born with freedom, and that's a natural right that we should all have.
I filmed this from a shopping center. I saw this many people doing different activities, and I was like, maybe this is a good thing to give the idea of what everyday life in New York is.
What type of video I take? Because I don't call them as garbage men, I call them heroes because they clean our neighborhood.
When it's 11 at the night, there's still people going around, and that's always gotta be a police there. You know, there's a lot of troubles.
A symbol that represents these experiences is the US-Mexico border, which very young adults want to pass in order to move toward the United States to escape violence, criminal gangs, and poverty in their home countries.
Yo aquí empiezo mi viaje como emigrante ya, empezar desde Guatemala.
The second documentary is about the US-Mexico border and how the lives of people living on one side of the border is so much different from the other.
Shares the story of the installment of 3 artworks that were put in between the border walls. They symbolized happiness, unity, and equality between the people who share the same landscape but are separated by this border. The theme of the third documentary focuses on the experiences of people who have passed through the border and the situations they face in the new country they migrated to.
I would connect this to my way of living in Peru because there are a lot of crime. The gang members pay kids to go and kill people, and if you betray them, then they will kill you.
How has the journey of moving to US from India have been for you?
That's gonna be funny because I didn't know that we were coming here until we actually came here.
What do you dislike or like about living in USA?
I dislike one thing, which is like racism and bullies.
Do you think your identity have changed since you came here?
Yes, it have changed in good ways, also bad ways, because coming here, I keep forgetting like my own language, which was in India. But here, I'm getting new language to learn, and it is good for me to learn that because it will help me in future.
The freedom in our country, like we haven't that much freedom to do whatever we want to do, but here, whatever you want to do, you can do it. That's your opportunity, and that's what I like too.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like also the freedom here and democracy.
Hello guys, today we'll be talking about how COVID-19 affected me and also students. There's about 1.3 billion students that are struggling with school, and for me, I'm not really struggling, but it has affected me because since I'm in blended learning, I get one-on-one teacher, and it's really good for me because then I don't have to stress a lot about school. But I also see other people that are struggling with school. Since they're on online, they can't come to school. It's really hard for them. I hope that everything just go back to normal. People go back to school, and for students to get less stress about school and also learn more. Thank you very much.
Can you see me on the screen? On the screen. On the other side, you have the screen.
Come on, Culver.
Okay, so right now, you know what I'm going to do, Vicente? Te voy a dar una cámara y tú vas a filmar. Pon tu mano así. Ok. Ok, right. ¿Sabes qué botón tienes que apretar para filmar, no? Este de aquí, mira Vicente. Aprieta aquí. Ok, Vicente, go.
Vete. No viniste, tú no viniste.
Yo trabajo con Vicente desde que él entró aquí. Él entró aquí a los 13 años de edad y ya va para 20.
Action. Where was you born?
I was born in Yonkers, New York.
What high school you went?
I went to a high school called Saunders Trades and Technical High School, which is in Yonkers, New York. Where were you born?
New York.
You have a job?
No.
You want a job?
Yes.
What do you want to do?
Clean.
You want to clean? You can start by doing my office if you want.
I'll do it.
Jason.
Este año tengo a Jason Calderón López y yo he trabajado con muchos, solo que ahora con Jason tengo 2 años consecutivos trabajando con él. La verdad es que yo me llego a entender con los estudiantes o los llego a comprender tan bien que, por ejemplo, hoy está ausente Jason y como que lo extraño, como que siento que, bueno, ¿qué pasó? ¿Dónde está? Y es que la rutina nos hace sentir un especial afecto por ese estudiante.
Llegó el bailarín. ¿Cuántos años le quedan a Vicente en la escuela?
Ya, el próximo año ya se gradúa. Ya es un viejo.
Ya,
un hombre.
Un hombre, Luz.
Hecho y derecho ya.
Hombre, Luz.
Y Luz se gradúa
Hombre,
este año.
Luz.
Es Luz. Tú te gradúas este año, es la Luz. Mira, ¿quién es esa? ¿Quién es? Dile cheese.
Action. That is recording. You see? If I say cut, what do you have to do, Luz? Cut? Cut.
What is the most important thing that you want people to know about P79?
That is a great question. Help them to discover their hidden talents and so that we can celebrate them.
Muy bien. Nice job, Vicente. Buen trabajo.
Buen trabajo.
¿Te ha gustado?
I think this project is necessary, not only a good idea, but I think creating a safe and moderated space for youth is very, very important and necessary.
I think it's definitely necessary that we have creative spaces for youth to kind of express ideas freely and openly.
What I'm excited that this project can do, and that ties in with like my philosophy of education, is really how can this experience be an experience that is also transformative to you personally? How do we look at youth, at students, not only as students or youth, but as people, as whole complex individuals?
We just know media is such an integral part of our students' lives and teenagers' lives, and it's more important than ever to kind of create that space where they can create and drive the narrative of what they're hearing and seeing. They truly need representation in that space where they live.
Because in the internet climate now, the stream of information is so constant and overwhelming. And so by creating this network of youth, I think it's super important, because that way there's a safe discussion space to see if sources are trustworthy, and there's a nice kind of, I don't know how to say it, but this sense of community that gets made, and I think that's incredible.
Just speaking to my personal experience of working in broadcast work for 4 years in school, I love the opportunity to kind of creatively express myself, but I felt that I was still limited in terms of the type of content I could create and the kind of conversations I wanted to have. I feel like having like a teen media network would allow us to have the conversations and talk about the topics that we're not normally able to have.
I don't like the word saying empower someone, because we don't need to give the power to anyone. They already have it. So it's kind of just like to remind them that they have it. In order to achieve that, we need to trust them first, that they're able to do and capable of doing things.
I guess I had a question for these young people, because I've been interested that after a safe space has been created, there is sometimes uncertainty about what they want to say in it.
I think it'd be an amazing thing to have a platform to talk about such issues that are normally controversial or being like under attack in terms of like a lot of the laws that are being passed, a lot of the things that we're seeing in the media and the news about crazy things that are happening nowadays. So I think having a safe space to facilitate conversations or create media, about such topics would be extremely necessary and vital.
The ability to be able to discuss these controversial or touchy subjects with a more global perspective is definitely something that I think is very, very interesting and important. Using something that applies to me as a woman in Mexico, there's a lot of issues surrounding women's rights and feminism and those kinds of things. And so to have this platform to be able not only to discuss topics like this with people from all over the world and see how those issues affect them, but also to have the opportunity to then, through those discussions, have an access for creativity and for a way to express these emotions through creativity. I think that's huge and very, very important and very cool as well.
What kind of creative expression draws you for work around examining gender issues in an international perspective? Like, what kind of stuff would you like to make?
I feel that the really interesting thing about having this space is that there's really no bounds to what you can make. Not necessarily like something tangible and physical. Since I'm going to be studying graphic design, something in that area I think would be very cool. Or like Abigail was saying, making documentaries, especially having the perspectives of all of these people, I think would be very interesting to see. And I think what's also very cool about this project is that the way we connect gives us this opportunity to discuss what types of creative media we could make. And I think that's very cool.
And going to film school in the fall and potentially pursuing a career as a writer and director, I feel like this can give me a space and a platform to see what type of content I can create, what kind of voices I want to, platform and work with in the future. I think this is extremely vital, moving in the direction of, progressive media, platforming a lot of diverse young voices. I think this is an extremely cool project. I'm excited to join.
There is a future here if we keep working together, and I think that we don't have to get discouraged and keep working, right? And creating and having fun. I think that is the most important thing.
And even then, just by allowing something like this, which is very simple in a way, I think it's very powerful. Like immediately while we were introducing ourselves, Abigail and I already made a connection. We were like, oh, we're gonna be in the same city in the fall. So in that way, there's already a connection that has been made, and that's tremendous. And so I think that this project is very cool because of that.